Now, if you're an educator or business on YouTube and you've started to notice that your views are going down recently, or you're struggling to get traction on any of your videos, even if in the past some would go broader or even viral, then don't worry, you're not alone and you're not going crazy. We're all seeing the same thing. And that's because there has been a massive shift in the YouTube algorithm. And I'm not talking about a small shift. I'm talking about a proper game-changing, we need to really think about what we're doing on the platform kind of shift. And I've noticed that a lot of creators out there are blaming it on shorts, and they're perhaps looking at it more from a shorts versus long form angle, which they're not wrong. YouTube is pushing shorts, but I think they've missed two big key things that will dramatically change the game. And if you're an educator especially, you're really going to have to look at this and rethink the rules of YouTube and what you're doing. So what other channels are saying, and I agree with them, is that shorts are getting pushed by YouTube more. And that's because shorts are making YouTube a lot of money, not quite as much as long form, but it is growing all of the time. And YouTube has lots of different strategies and things they want to do with AI and also product placement in short form content. So they're pushing it hard, which means obviously long form is getting pushed aside or recommended a little bit less. And what they're saying is that they're seeing it across the board on home pages and so on, where shorts are taking up more prime spots. But I don't think that's really enough to stop long form, because long form content is actually on the rise. So I wanted to look into this deeper, and we obviously started to research Gemini leaks and information from that, because I think this is a big shift that's happening on YouTube. I wanted to know what the CEO was saying. I wanted to see what other creators were saying. And also we wanted to look at anecdotal things that creators, smaller creators, are actually seeing. So in our community, we ran a test together, and I asked everybody to go away and look at their homepage and report back and tell me what they were seeing, to see if they could see what we were seeing. Were they seeing the same patterns? Were they seeing the same shift? And it's been very interesting. So what we're going to work through now is I'm going to show you the evidence that we've collected and the two big shifts that I think have gone relatively unnoticed, and what you can do moving forward to try and get your channel out of this sort of low view rut so we can adjust to this changing landscape. So some of it will be anecdotal. Obviously, YouTube never tells us anything 100%, but we can make an educated guess based on all of this research that we've done. So I think from the research, we have to understand that YouTube is not broken. It's just maturing, and it's maturing into a number of different areas, and we have to adjust to catch up, because this is a fundamental shift. So it's us that has to change and adjust to this. Otherwise, you're just going to continue to get low views. So the first shift is focusing more on the anecdotal side of things. And that's that once we look at the homepage and we start to see what is happening in terms of shifts in behavior for YouTube and shifts of priority and attention, we started to notice some patterns. And this is what our members were noticing. It's what we were noticing. And it's what some other people were reporting. And that's that, yes, obviously there is less space. It used to be sort of 4 to 5 tiles, and they've made the tiles a lot bigger. Now, that could be because people are watching on larger devices more, such as TVs and so on. But we were generally seeing that, yes, shorts were often at the top, and then there was bars of shorts running along the bottom. So shorts were taking up more space. But this is not the only thing that we noticed. We also noticed that fewer smaller channels were showing up. And this is universally what our members saw and that we already saw. So in about 2023, YouTube started recommending and pushing small channels a lot more. And don't worry, they haven't really stopped that. But there is things that I've noticed that are shifting this slightly. And if we don't adjust, then we're going to struggle as smaller creators. So they are starting to favor and push, and we'll get to the reasoning, I think, later on, bigger safe bet channels. But not so much channels, bigger safe bet content. So we're seeing a lot more random videos. So this is just I just quickly took a screenshot of what it was showing me on my homepage now. And this channel I've never heard of. This channel I've never heard of. And these are millions of views, 6 million views on this animal one. and then massive views potentially as well on this update about Tom Cruise. And this is the type of thing I would expect to see more of if I wasn't logged into YouTube. But YouTube knows what I like. So it's actually, a lot of this stuff is quite random, and even adverts. So other than maybe one or two of these, they're not stuff that I watch. So we've got fewer stuff being shown, and it's showing a lot more stuff. But not just that, it was also recommending older videos over smaller, newer channels. So I was seeing videos that were 1, 2, 5, and even 13 years old. Yes, YouTube suggested a random 13-year-old out-of-date video that wasn't relevant to me at all, thinking that I would want to watch that above something else and something smaller and newer. So this is a strange behavior because that doesn't make sense. Why are you showing me out-of-date content? And often I've started to watch videos that were news-based and then realized it was 2 years old. And I was thinking, YouTube, what are you doing? Why are you showing me this type of content? And I think the answer to this is that we need to follow the money. So we need to follow the money on YouTube. When it comes to long form, we know the money side for shorts, and I'm not going to really talk about that much because obviously long form for educators and people that are selling products and services, conversion driven content is long form. So that's where the money is for us. And it's also potentially where the money is for YouTube still mainly. But let's look at what is happening with long form content. Well, YouTube is now the #1 streaming platform. Fine, we've been talking about this for a while. We've known that TV is on the rise, but it's the #1 platform. So above Netflix, above any other platform, it is becoming the #1 place that people are actually watching content on TV. 73% of all watch time on the platform is from long form content. So 73%. So even with all the views, the billions and billions of views from short form content, 73% of all watch time is still long form. And actually long form is on the rise again. So, they may be betting on both long form and short form, but short form is not taking over by any stretch of, the imagination. And longer videos are doing well. So it used to be sort of 8 to 12 minutes. Now we're getting up towards 30 minutes. And there's some reasoning behind this as well. We're also seeing ads go dramatically up. You may have noticed this. Perhaps you're already paying for premium, so you don't see the ads. But if you're not, then you get up to 3 ads per video. Well, not just per video, per time they're playing the ads. And they're showing the ads a lot more often with just a couple of minutes break. So you could see a dozen ads throughout an entire video. And it's up to 3 at a time. So you're waiting for quite a bit of time. So we're getting up to potentially sort of TV level ads here. And TV ads are moving to YouTube. So this correlation, we're starting to see a pattern. The ad money, the juicy TV money that everybody loves, is starting to move to YouTube. So we have to follow the money. So if we look at recent videos, when I was even just a couple of months ago uploading videos, TV was already on the rise, but it was about 12 to 14% most of the time. Well, I can tell you it's getting close to 20% on most of my videos now. So it's moving up fast. It's moving up very fast. And in fact, we know that TV has actually overtaken the American market in terms of viewership, which many people find weird. But if you look at this, look, how many people, I'm an education channel, so 42% is on computer. That makes sense. Mobile is 31.8, TV is nearly 20, and tablet is nearly 7. That means that 70% of people watching are on larger screens, and TV is dramatically going up. So how people are viewing content is shifting again. And we have to take notice of that, because if YouTube is now becoming the TV place, and the TV the advertisers on TVs there's less terrestrial viewers, viewership is going down all of the time for TV, so that money has to go somewhere. And that means that YouTube is getting risk averse. Now, obviously, this is anecdotal, but if you're favoring bigger videos from 13 years ago above showing me something I'm probably going to be interested on the homepage, and you're doing bigger tiles to make everything more TV friendly, we can see where this is heading. It's heading towards becoming more of a streaming service with ads and a lot more ads, and the quality of the ads are becoming TV level. They really are. And the type of ads I see on the TV versus the ones I see on my computer are very different. So that means YouTube is probably becoming risk averse. They want videos that people are going to watch longer because viewing behavior is completely different on TV. Because I'm actually going to be watching maybe slightly in the background more. I'm going to watch longer videos because I don't want to change channel as often. So we have to understand that, okay, if YouTube is risk averse because of the money and they want to please advertisers more and they want content that is going to be more beneficial for the ad side of things, then yes, that sucks. But it's a reality that we have to adjust to. And we'll get towards how we can do that moving forward. Then number 2, the second problem that I think people have slightly overlooked in terms of why views may be coming down is the technical shift. Gemini and AI has now been fully rolled out. They were testing bits and pieces on the platform last year towards the end, but now I see it on every video. It's been fully rolled out. And you can see it in the description. You can ask questions. You may have seen it summarizing some videos. I've noticed and checked that this is not so much on entertainment videos. It is mainly on education videos. So educational content where you may want context. YouTube and Gemini is actually going through your video to understand it. And that's the difference. It was scanning and taking information and to a degree trying to understand it. But now the AI is fully trying to understand it. And Gemini is across Google Search, all of its other apps and platforms. So it understands your behavior in terms of search, in terms of your calendar, in terms of your emails, in terms of where you are now, Google Maps, everything. It knows all of that. And now that has been plugged fully into YouTube. And it's scanning the videos and fully understanding them. So therefore, it's not even a game of trying to, it's not even a game of trying to trick the algorithm or so on. The algorithm is now completely understanding your videos. So AI is looking for semantic resolution, if I can say that properly. Semantic resolution. So does the video actually solve the problem that people came for? So does it satisfy the user or the viewer properly? So does it fix a particular problem, and does it give them the satisfaction that they want from the video rather than just, did they click and watch a little bit of it? So in the past, we were starting to think more about click-through rates, watch time, and any type of engagement. Engagement hacking was a great way of doing it. You could maybe rage bait people to get emotional responses from people. But even now, it'll be looking at that and seeing if it's a positive experience for the user. So if you've got a lot of negative comments, not all engagement is a good thing. So therefore, if it sees the comments are negative, it may view your video as a negative. So it's about the experience and the satisfaction of the viewer. So therefore, not all types of engagement are good for your channel or your videos anymore. Watch time may no longer be a real measure of engagement because it will look to see if people are satisfied with the section of your video that they watched. So it may no longer be about how long they watched the video, but whether or not it answered the question. Did they keep searching for videos afterwards on the same topic? So in which case your video failed to fill that particular need. So YouTube and Google together want to become more of a answer sort of engine than they do a search engine. They want to try and solve problems and satisfy the viewer. So just going back a second there, is the old way potentially dead? The old way that we look at sort of trying to gamify and get our videos to get greater reach. We used to be looking at metrics such as click-through rate and watch time and trying to, if we can get these up a bit, it's got more chance of going viral. And if we get the psychology of the click right, well, the game may be changing. It may now be almost all about satisfaction, if what we're seeing is to be believed. So satisfaction is potentially now king. So now that we know these two things, these two massive shifts of TV and technology with the AI combining to have a pretty dramatic shift on the way that we as creators have been researching and making our videos and playing with the system and the rules that were there for a very long time, they're all shifting. The ground has moved and it's just not what it used to be. So therefore, we need to pivot. So what can we do as educators, especially? This is still all fairly relevant to entertainment channels, but it's for educational channels in particular that I'm seeing this, that we are going to struggle a little bit more if we don't adopt these. So the first thing that we need to think about is that we need to stop chasing retention hacks. It's been heading that way a bit since it's been more interest driven in terms of traffic and rewarding videos. But now we really want to stop with the fast cuts, loud music, and all of the stuff that was meant for 12-year-olds on phones. So it's no longer the phone market that we're necessarily, as educators, making our videos for. Yes, people with bigger phones will still be watching. Yes, mobile usage is still going to be a massive part of it. But I notice that for the most part, we see that 70% are watching on different devices. So retention hacks and dopamine and all of that, things that are trying to make us keep watching, are not necessarily satisfying. They may just mean that we get greater watch time because I watched the video for longer. But if I then go and search for other videos on the topic, then did you satisfy me? Or did you just keep me watching for longer? So we want to stop also trying to game keywords and all of those other tricks. So trying to get keywords in here and there. If it's scanning the whole video, it fully understands what your video is about. So I think things like the metadata and the stuff that we use for search and SEO, still super important, especially in the beginning. But I think in terms of trying to squeeze it into the description and everything else, it's becoming less important. As long as you're talking in the videos about the right information, then the AI is going to be able to work it out, and it's going to know who to share that to. So I think we really might need to rethink all of the old rules that we are using and have been using moving forward, and actually challenge it to say that, will this satisfy the viewer? And then what we do want to be doing is uploading in 4K. If the new reality is that TV viewership is on the rise, which it is, and I can tell you now, I've started to watch YouTube and more stuff on my 65-inch TV, and that means, because I just realized, why would I keep looking down at a little screen when I have this massive thing in front of me? And the TVs are getting smarter, so we are watching it. It is a change. So therefore, we need to start recording and uploading in 4K. Normally 1080 was enough, and I was someone that was always saying this, but I think the shift is finally here. And we also have to think about the viewership. How do people consume and watch on TV? So maybe it's more background, maybe it's more laid back, maybe they want longer. Maybe it's why we can get away with more talking videos, because people just want something in the background, something visually nice to look at with someone to actually listen to. So we've got to think about the TV experience versus the, say, mobile device experience. It's not the same. The consuming behavior and the dopamine hacking doesn't work on TV. So we have to look at that and make changes for our content to suit TV more. And then the big one for me is optimize for satisfaction. This is going to be what we need to be doing as educators moving forward. Did the viewer get what they came for? Did they get their outcome, or did they get their problem solved, or did they get the feeling or the desire filled for what they came for? Now, it's been a little bit like this in the past, but we have to think of the moment and the mindset that they're in, because AI is going to be getting so good at matching up the moment they need it to the moment that we're speaking to them and getting in front of them. So we need to align with that moment more versus just retention hacking, just trying to dopamine hit them with listicle videos and so on, where we try to trick them to watch for longer with fancy editing hacks and all of these flashy graphics. That time has gone. And then we also want to be aiming, in my opinion, to become an authority. So not just an entertainer, and even if we have a small channel and maybe we don't necessarily feel like the authority, we want to position ourselves as that authority. Now, I'm often saying in our community, you want to position yourself as a niche authority. So you want to own your space as much as possible. And I think in the times where trust is going to be low and trust is now going to become the new sort of mechanism, because even AI is going to be evaluating us as trustworthy, reliable sources. It's not just us trying to pretend it and fake it till we make it. The AI will look through and say, nope, that's not good. People aren't satisfied with your content, or you're misleading or lying. So therefore, AI is going to see this right away. So what we really want to be doing is trying to focus on becoming a trusted authority. So I think the time of easy viral content is over, especially for education and business channels. So the trusted authority era is here. So focus on trust, focus becoming that authority for your channel, Focus on long form content that is going to be working for TV. Make sure that you've got 4K and really try to work towards viewer satisfaction. Now, I hope you found that useful. If you did, hit the like button. Any questions, ask in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.